Alright guys, so here's the funny thing. Every single one of us, when we are talking about ourselves and we are talking about the quote-unquote problems that we do have and what we do encounter, we have to understand that every single person on this planet Earth do have problems. And so for example, there might be people who have quote-unquote higher grade or higher level problems. So for example, they have lost a parent or something like that, some big tragedy in life. But you might have minor crises in your life too. So for example, you haven't been promoted in your job, you had a problem with your girlfriend, or you maybe even broke up, so on and so forth. Or you broke your leg, or like some minor stuff that happened in your life which is not pleasant. And so the core idea here is that every single one of us do have a story. And so every single one of us do think that their story is special. Every single one of us do think that their story that, hey man, I'm the orphan, or hey man, I'm the poor boy, or hey man, whatever the story might be. Think that their story is unique and think that they can justify they are actually not taking the action that is required them to actually succeed because they have the story. And so all of us do have the tendency, again, to think that our story is unique. And so now that we are labeling ourselves that, hey man, my story is unique, like, I'm this special snowflake who got, this whole tragedy going on in his life, then we think that, hey man, I cannot do that. And actual growth can happen, guys, when we realize that all the crap and all the stories that we are building up for ourselves, everyone do have them. Everyone got the stories. The actual difference is between some people are willing to be humble and say that, hey, life doesn't give an F. Life doesn't give an F. And they just move on. There are many people who were born like super poor, like legendarily poor. They are like so broke, and they still made it. Like so many people, they become millionaires, billionaires, you name it. There are so many people who grew up without parents, orphans. They've made it financially. Artists, athletes, they still made it. And so now we do have all these tiny stories that like, hey, like my father wasn't the most perfect guy out there, or hey, I had this minor health crisis, whatever the case might be. Or I was born, without a hand or something like some crazy stuff. There are people who still do that. And so up until the point that there are people who are doing those things despite of their circumstance, which is either bigger than yours or bigger than ours, then we cannot have an excuse. And so now that I got to realize this, I'm like I'm just looking at myself and like, man, like what the freaking hell are your stories? You're a normal fucking person. Sorry for the language. Everyone is good with you. Like you have like minor crises, but of course, like everyone got them. You're not special. And so understand that we are not special, and understand that every single person out there do have their story, and understanding that everyone is just simply attaching a meaning to their story and using their stories either to fuel themselves or to make excuses for themselves. And so I would love to share with you the mindset of how we can actually use these stories to fuel ourselves instead of giving us to destroy. So for example, you're angry for your parents, you're angry for your circumstances, you're angry for everything. Use that, channel that anger to build a business, or channel that anger to give that thing out in music. You're feeling numb, you're feeling stupid, you're feeling that you're dumb, you've been dropping out of college. This is some days I'm feeling like this. And where am I channeling this dumbness, this pain? I'm reading like a motherfucker. Sorry for the language. I'm feeling that I'm not working enough. How am I channeling that thing? I'm taking 12-hour work days. I'm working out 2 hours a day. This is how I'm channeling it, and results do show. Or there are many times that I feel like so left behind in life. I'm channeling that thing. So instead of using that, so for example, I'm feeling that, all right, man, I'm feeling left behind in life. Instead of me, like sitting on bed and trying to be depressed, or not trying to be, but being depressed and allowing myself, to fall and drawn into this depressed or blue state, what I do is that I'm waking my ass up and I'm using my insecurities and using all that stuff to actually go ahead and start working on a project, start working on that business. I'm not inspired with business. What I do, I go out there and I use this desperateness to actually move that. So this is something, and this is what most of us don't realize. The greatest people out there, the greatest achievers ever, have been driven by something that is extraordinary. And most of the cases, what we do think is perhaps not what happened in reality. So for example, all these great guys, let's say Leonardo da Vinci. Most of these guys, most of the greatest people out there have been driven by pain, by insecurities, by fears, by negative emotion. And so don't try to say that, hey, I have this negative situation and I cannot do that. No. The actual idea is that we can use them and we can find them. And so when we are taking a step even forward, then we can understand that behind all of the greatest achievements lies some kind of a huge adversity. And so now that we understand this, we have to also understand and embrace the idea that we've got everything. So we've got the cards, and it's up to us. It's our responsibility, which again is a super basic and important story.